What if the dollar's reign as the world's dominant currency was about to crumble? Because of an alliance you never saw coming. China, Japan, and South Korea are joining forces in a powerful economic pact that could turn the tables on America's trade dominance and put Trump's presidency to the ultimate test. In this video, we're diving into how this shocking union is reshaping the global economy and why it could be the beginning of the end for American supremacy. Stick around because what's happening now could change everything. Stay tuned to find out how these three countries might be plotting to topple the economic empire built around the dollar. This is just the beginning. What's coming next will shake the world. Subscribe now or miss the storm. China declared a war that could forever erode the dollar, and Donald Trump began to face the consequences of his reckless decisions. Meanwhile, as rumors swirled about the collapse of a powerful European Union, an even more formidable Asian alliance emerged, showing signs of strength. This new coalition appeared poised to shift the balance of global power, threatening America's economic dominance and its unpredictable leader. The alliance, which Trump failed to account for, is a strategic partnership between China, Japan, and South Korea. Three nations finally uniting to challenge the trade war imposed by the U.S. Trump's war, marked by sanctions and steep tariffs, was designed to force the world to comply. But now, it seems the tide is turning. Are we witnessing a global economic earthquake that could topple the dollar? How might this alliance become a nightmare for Trump in his upcoming term? In this video, we'll explore how these three countries have united to resist U.S. pressure, and how this economic powerhouse could shift the global order, potentially threatening the future of America's economy. Stay with us, because what's unfolding now might be the beginning of the end for American supremacy, and Trump's final gambit. By March 2025, tensions escalated significantly, especially in trade relations between the United States and Asian countries. After Trump announced new tariffs on car imports and spare parts, set at a rate of 25%, China, Japan, and South Korea began seeking stronger economic cooperation to counteract the fallout from these American policies. This tension started with Trump's protectionist trade agenda, designed to reduce the U.S. trade deficit. But rather than benefiting America, these measures caused widespread harm, particularly through the imposition of tariffs on a wide range of imports, especially from Asia. The result was a sharp deterioration in trade relations with China, Japan, and South Korea, three nations heavily reliant on exports to the United States. The economic damage caused by these tariffs was significant. China, the largest exporter of cars and parts to the United States, stood to lose billions in the automotive sector alone due to the new tariffs. Japan, the second largest exporter, also faced a major blow, with exports in 2024 reaching around 1.5 million cars, a number likely to decrease significantly. Similarly, South Korea, another major exporter, saw its 800,000 car exports to the United States facing a steep decline due to the tariffs. This mounting economic pressure prompted China, Japan, and South Korea to come together. Beyond the direct economic losses, there were several additional reasons for the union. One key factor was the threat to their interconnected supply chains. These countries rely on complex networks for production, and tariffs disrupted these delicate systems. As a result, strengthening cooperation was necessary to ensure the continued flow of trade and production. Another reason was to reduce their dependence on the American market. These nations sought to diversify their trade relationships, enhancing intra-Asian trade and expanding trade agreements beyond the United States. But what does this alliance look like, and what are its objectives? Signs of this alliance began to emerge during a March 2025 meeting of trade ministers from China, Japan, and South Korea in Seoul. The ministers agreed to deepen their economic cooperation to address common challenges, including accelerating negotiations for a free trade agreement that would encompass all three nations. The ministers also discussed strengthening supply chain cooperation, including China's procurement of semiconductor raw materials from Japan and South Korea, and enhancing dialogue on export controls. So what is the ultimate goal of this alliance? At its core, the Union aims to influence United States policies and curtail Trump's economic strategies. Enhanced cooperation between these countries could reduce the effectiveness of U.S. tariffs, potentially forcing Washington to reconsider its approach. Furthermore, increased cooperation would strengthen regional economic integration, positioning Asia as a powerful bloc capable of challenging global economic dynamics. The implications of this alliance are far-reaching. Not only does it pose a direct challenge to American trade dominance, but it could also signal the decline of the European Union, which is already facing significant internal struggles. Strengthening ties between China, Japan, and South Korea could reshape global supply chains, affecting multinational corporations and altering the course of the global economy. Trump is already paying the price as this new alliance threatens America's commercial influence in Asia. These countries are working to increase intra-trade and reduce their reliance on U.S. exports. In 2024, the United States imported roughly $800 billion in goods from China, Japan, and South Korea. However, with the alliance in place, America may soon face a severe shortage of critical materials. The alliance could expand beyond these three countries, potentially drawing in nations like India or Russia, further diminishing U.S. trade dominance in the region. As tariffs on Asian goods continue to rise, American consumers will face higher prices, especially in industries like electronics. In 2004, 40% of the electronics in the U.S. market came from China, South Korea, and Japan. If imports from these nations drop, U.S. companies will have to find more expensive alternatives, leading to inflation. The alliance will also deal a heavy blow to the American tech sector, which is highly dependent on components from these three countries. Companies like Apple, Intel, and Tesla could suffer if China, Japan, and South Korea limit their exports of essential materials. With disruptions in supply chains, American companies may struggle to maintain production levels. Apple, for example, sources 70% of its components from China and South Korea. Any restrictions on exports would severely impact its operations. Additionally, the U.S. exports about $300 billion in goods to these three countries annually, including aircraft, agricultural products, and advanced technology. Should China, Japan, and South Korea impose retaliatory tariffs or reduce their purchases of American goods, sectors like agriculture and aviation could face significant losses. China alone imports $25 billion worth of U.S. agricultural products, and any new restrictions could spark a crisis in the U.S. farming sector. Boeing, another major American exporter, could lose substantial contracts if Japan and South Korea shift their purchases to European competitor Airbus. As these challenges mount, U.S. companies may be forced to cut back on production or lay off workers, resulting in job losses, especially in the technology and manufacturing sectors. The decline of American influence in the global economy will be mirrored by the rise of China's power, as the three-nation alliance strengthens China's position both economically and politically. If China, Japan, and South Korea succeed in creating a fully integrated economic bloc, East Asia could emerge as a major independent economic center, challenging America's global hegemony and reshaping the economic landscape. If the alliance continues to expand and succeeds in reducing its reliance on the U.S. market, Trump could find himself caught in a situation with no easy escape.